Hello, everybody. It is Fab Four Friday here in the 85th Annual Men's Basketball NAIA National Championship from Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City, Missouri. Today we have a matchup featuring the Georgetown Tigers, the champions of the Dewar Quadrant, taking on the Indiana Tech Warriors, who won the Liston Quadrant. I'm Jason Griefer. Great to have you here with us. It should be a good one here in just a matter of moments here in Kansas City. This is the second of the matchups in the Fab Four. The first matchup between the College of Idaho and OUAZ just finishing up here, and we'll get you the update on that here when that one goes final. One big change and one big update for Georgetown today. The Tigers will be without the services of Cam Brooks-Harris, who is actually flown back to Ohio to attend a family matter, and thus Brooks-Harris will not be here today for the Georgetown Tigers. Tay Dozier will move into the starting lineup. Of course, Dozier had a spectacular game off the bench in the quarterfinal win over Grace. He had 18.6 rebounds and 4 assists in that quarterfinal win. Of course, the story for the Tigers in the win over Grace outside of Dozier was the career-high 33 points from Jake Omer and another monstrous second half from Kyron Jones, en route to a 24-point, 12-rebound effort to send Georgetown to its 16th Fab Four in program history, and the Tigers looking to get to their 8th national championship game. Taking on an Indiana Tech team who is in their first ever Fab Four. They are 31-4 on the year out of the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference, and they took down the top seed in the Liston Quadrant, Arizona Christian, 67-64 in a quarterfinal round matchup on Wednesday. Big factor in that one for Indiana Tech was the rebounding margin. The Warriors plus 16 on the boards against Arizona Christian, and also did not allow a single second chance point to the Firestorm. And so that'll be an interesting matchup here today for Georgetown, because the Tigers have been so good on the glass, obviously led by Kyron Jones, but also Drew Lamont battling inside, and also Tay Dozier from his guard spot has been a big help in that regard to boot as well. So that's going to be a big factor, and Indiana Tech is going to present Georgetown some problems because the Warriors have a lot of size on their roster. Seven players for the Warriors go 6'6" or taller. Now, not all of them see significant minutes, but nevertheless, they're going to have a lot of bodies they can throw inside against a shorthanded Georgetown front. Again, without Cam Brooks-Harris, who was out attending a family matter. He has already flown back to Ohio to attend that matter. And so all the more important for Georgetown, and it was a problem yesterday to stay out of foul trouble. The Tigers had not only Cam Brooks-Harris, but also Drew Lamont fouled out in the win over Grace. And so particularly Drew Lamont, going to be a key factor for him to stay out of foul trouble today if the Tigers are going to maintain an inside presence against Indiana Tech and to try to get back to the national championship game tomorrow night. I want to thank everyone who is tuning in here, wherever you're tuning in from across the land and across the world for that matter. I'm sure we have some international Tigers tuning in to our broadcast here today from Kansas City. It's been a great tournament all the way around, and our thanks to the NAIA for putting on another spectacular event here in Kansas City. We've been treated with nothing but kindness, not only from the NAIA, but the folks here in Kansas City have been really welcoming, as always, for this tournament. It's always been a spectacular event, a lot of fun. And for Georgetown fans, the hope is the fun continues into tomorrow night's title game. But first, they've got to take care of Indiana Tech. Georgetown, of course, the long-storied program here in this tournament, their 42nd appearance, and again, their 16th Fab Four. This is just the 14th time Indiana Tech has been in the tournament, and their first ever Fab Four. The win and appearance yesterday in the quarterfinal against Arizona Christian was their first quarterfinal appearance since 2005, and so you're playing against an Indiana Tech team who is on a roll, but also in a position that they've never been in in the season. And so a lot to be deciphered in that regard, and we'll break things down as we go forward. We're going to step aside right now as the first semifinal in front of us is just wrapping up, and here in just a little bit, we'll break down even further this matchup between Georgetown and Indiana Tech, the winner going to tomorrow's national championship right here in Kansas City. refs get ready to change the scores. Welcome back to the Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City. Georgetown and Indiana Tech set to do battle here in just a little bit as the semifinal in front of us between the College of Idaho and Ottawa, Arizona is still in the winding moments, trying to determine which of those two teams will move on to Saturday's national title game to take on, of course, the winner of Georgetown and Indiana Tech. Tell you how these teams got here in our matchup. First for Indiana Tech, they were the runners-up in the WHAC tournament. They lost in the tournament final to Madonna and still earned a 2 seed in the listing quadrant. Hosted the first 2 rounds, easily dispatched IU South Bend 82-57 in the first round. And then in round 2, had to hang on and win a tight one over Evangel 71-66 to advance to Kansas City. And, of course, Georgetown can relate to having to win a tight one to get out of your home pod to get here to Kansas City. And then in the round of 16, Indiana Tech knocked off Jamestown by a score of 61-51 before taking down Arizona Christian in a tight one, 67-64 in the quarterfinal round to get here to this point in their first ever Fab Four. For the Georgetown Tigers, meanwhile, a 9-point win over Lourdes in the opening round. 67-58 game was never really that close in that one. Georgetown had a 19-point lead and were able to hang on in the second half despite having Kyra Jones for a limited time in that game. But the Tigers held on. And, of course, Georgetown, as I alluded to a moment ago, knows about winning the close second-round game. The Tigers squeaking out a 75-74 win over Indiana Wesleyan as Kyron Jones hit 2 free throws with 0.4 of a second left to send the Tigers here to Kansas City. In the round of 16, Georgetown fell down by double digits in the first half to Langston, 22-12 with 5:32 to go in the first half. And then Georgetown scored 20 unanswered points to take a 10-point lead early in the second half. The Tigers were never threatened in the second half and rolled on to a 74-60 win. In the quarterfinal round, similar story for Georgetown as the Langston game. The Tigers got down by 13 against the top seed in the Dewar Quadrant with the Grace Lancers in the first half before Jake Omer and Tay Dozier went bonkers late in the first half. Omer scoring 17 of his 21 first half points in the final 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Georgetown got into the lead at halftime, built on it into the second half. Grace never got within 4 in the final 11 minutes of the second half. Georgetown made its free throws late for a 92-85 win, and thus the Tigers and the Warriors meeting here in the Fab Four. And again, if you're just joining us, Cam Brooks-Harris not here with Georgetown. He's attending to a family matter back in Ohio. He has already flown back to Ohio, and thus he is with the Tigers in spirit today. So the Georgetown will lose a big fella to go against an Indiana Tech team that carries a lot of size. And so that'll be an interesting challenge for Georgetown. Can they stay out of foul trouble as they try to advance to their 8th national championship game? As I mentioned earlier, Indiana Tech in their first ever trip to the Fab Four reached as far as the quarterfinals, but that was all the way back in 2005. So brand new territory here, led by for the Warriors, led by head coach Ted Albert, who's in his fifth season at the helm at Indiana Tech, and 31 wins this season. They finished as the runner-up in the tournament of the WHAC, and were taken down in that one soundly, as a matter of fact, by Madonna, 96-83. It was the largest loss on the season for the Warriors by far. Their other three losses were by no more than 7 points. Keep an eye out as well as if Georgetown gets another second half performance from Kyron Jones like they have the first two games out here in Kansas City. In the second half alone, in the wins over Langston and Grace, Jones combined for 38 points and 17 rebounds to spur the Tigers on, particularly yesterday, picking up where Jake Omer left off in the first half. Omer, of course, 21 in the first half, a career high 33 points in that game, as he got hot early on. Again, Tigers fans have been waiting for Omer to go off for a while, and that took some time even in that game against Grace for it to happen, but Omer went off in the last 4 minutes, as I mentioned, scoring 17 points in the final 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the first half to shoot Georgetown from a 13-point deficit into the lead. And as I said, the Tigers went on to the 92-85 win. Still waiting for the game in front of us to finish up. When we come back, we'll have the final result of that game. You'll also get a look at the up to the second bracket here in the Fab Four, as Georgetown and Indiana Tech still wait to take the floor in the second of our semifinals in Kansas City. Welcome back here in Kansas City. The first semifinal has just gone final, and the College of Idaho had to hang on and nearly gave away a 23-point second-half lead. Ottawa had a chance at the tie in the final second with a three-pointer. The shot was blocked, and Ottawa threw in a shot, a two-point shot at the buzzer, and so the final score, College of Idaho, the #1 overall seed in the tournament, advances to the title game with a 73-72 win over the Spirit of Ottawa. And what a comeback that Ottawa nearly pulled off. Again, down 23 points with 12 minutes to go, and got all the way within one on more than one occasion in the final 30 seconds, but just could not pull even or get over the top. And the College of Idaho, as I said, the #1 overall seed, extends their winning streak on the year to 35 games in a row. And they are into the championship game tomorrow night to take on either Georgetown or Indiana Tech. College of Idaho, and they're going to pose with the bracket in front of us on the floor. So we still have some time here in between games. But again, wanted to pass that along. You see the bracket right now is up there and correct. It's 34 games in a row, the win streak for College of Idaho. Nevertheless, that's the longest winning streak in all of college basketball, men's or women's, NAIA, and any level of NCAA. They lost. College of Idaho lost their first game of the season to Arizona Christian. They have not lost since. They had to hang on for everything they could muster, but they are through to the title game tomorrow night. So we still have some time here to go until the Georgetown Indiana Tech semifinal takes place. College of Idaho just now leaving the floor. And so with that, here in the semifinal, each team will be given a 30-minute warm-up window. As I'm looking to my left, Indiana Tech just taking the floor, and Georgetown will be coming on right behind them. So we're going to step aside for some time as the 30-minute countdown clock has just started. And so we'll have a little bit of a delay here before things get going, as Georgetown and Indiana Tech just taking the floor for the warm-ups of the second semifinal here in the NAIA Fab Four. I want to say thank you to Blazer Bobcat, who's tuning in to our stream all the way from Albany, Georgia. Greatly appreciate your support, as well as everyone else listening here on the official Georgetown Tigers YouTube channel, as we are just under 20 minutes away from the tip of the second semifinal in this NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship, the 85th Annual Men's Basketball National Championship. Georgetown looking to reach its 8th national championship game. If they are to do so, got to get past Indiana Tech, who is in the Fab Four for the very first time in program history. The winner will take on the College of Idaho, who, if you're just joining us, had to hang on. And as the College of Idaho, the number 1 overall seed, nearly let go a 23-point second-half lead and escaped against the Cinderella Ottawa of Arizona, 73-72. So Idaho is into the title game tomorrow night, extending their winning streak to 34 games in a row. That's the longest in all of college basketball. NCAA, NAIA, men, women, does not matter. It's all the same. And so we'll certainly see if Georgetown gets that draw tomorrow. But, of course, the Tigers got to get through a very talented Indiana Tech team that comes in off of a 67-64 win over Arizona Christian. So both these teams familiar with having to grind games out. Of course, Georgetown had to do it in a very different way the last 2 days, coming from behind in the first half, double digits, to reach out and take a halftime lead over both Langston and Grace before the Tigers really controlled things through the second half for most of those games and en route to get here to the Fab Four. And as I mentioned, Indiana Tech, comfortable opening round win for the Warriors. They had to scratch out one against Evangel in order to get here to Kansas City, and then a 10-point win over Jamestown in the round of 16 and the 3-point win over against Arizona Christian in the quarterfinal round. Both these teams pretty similar numbers-wise. Both teams averaging right at about 79 points per game. Both teams allowing just under 67 points per game. And so very, very similar in that regard. Rebounding about the same. Again, rebounding will be a major, major factor in this one. The Warriors plus 16 in the rebounding margin in the win over Arizona Christian and did not allow a second chance point. That is important because for Georgetown, the Tigers have gotten so much in the way of production off those extra opportunities. 39 second chance points in the 2 games here in Kansas City. And so if the Tigers can get somewhere around that number, around that average, 18 to 20 points on second chance points, you have to feel good about Georgetown's chances in this one, even if the shots aren't falling early. And that has been the case here in Kansas City really for the first 10 to 12, 15 minutes of the ball game, with Georgetown going towards the left basket from our vantage point and seeing nothing but an open tunnel behind them. When things get going in the second half, the Tigers have been a little bit more productive and been able to put more points on the board. Of course, a 92 spot yesterday will certainly help things in that regard. But offense has not been the story for Georgetown this year by and large. Yes, they've been able to prove they can break out for those big games, but it has been primarily the defense for the Tigers that has gotten them all the way here to their 16th Fab Four. Very, very different from the Chris Briggs teams we've seen here in Kansas City in the past. And those Tiger teams, a lot of them, a number of them, of course, Chris Briggs now in his 4th Fab Four. The other 3 that got here to this point, really those high-flying, high-scoring teams. You go back to the team 10 years ago with the inside-outside combination of Monty Wilson and Vic Moses, DeAndre McWhorter, that team that won the championship. The 2016 team that lost the title at the buzzer in overtime. You're talking about DeAndre McWhorter, Noah Cottrell, Trent Gilbert on the outside. And then the 19 team, that team had firepower all over the place. Of course, Chris Coffey, who was the tournament's most outstanding player on the inside. And, of course, the outside efforts of L.J. Cowherd, Troy Stewart, Jacob Conway, Joe Burton. I could go down the line. Of course, I don't want to forget Dominique Reed because he had a fantastic tournament in 19. And, of course, Georgetown really felt like they were going to run it back in 2020 before the pandemic wiped out that tournament. Georgetown entered that tournament at 30-2, and the 2 losses were by 2 points each. Of course, a lot of the players from the 19 title team were back in 2020, and it really set up for Georgetown to go through this tournament, and likely would have done so, at least in my mind, would have done so relatively unchallenged. That team was just so good, so deep, so talented, could score any which way, but also could beat you and grind you down defensively. And that's what this team here in Georgetown in this 2022-2023 iteration has done. Not quite the same offensive firepower. Of course, they got the big boost when Jake Omer joined the team at the semester break back in mid-December. And so the firepower's been there, but again, it has been more about the defense and trying to win games in that regard as opposed to trying to go the more up and down tempo and see if you can win in a shootout type of fashion. Again, folks, we thank you for joining us here on YouTube. Drop a comment in the chat here, and we'll make sure that we have the recognize you there. Robert Hanks, appreciate you tuning in. Kim Donaldson, proud alum and former cheerleader at Georgetown, right by campus, so we appreciate you all tuning in as well. I was told by my father to say hello to my mother and father who are listening in Northern Kentucky. So fans, while you're in the chat, let us know where you're listening from. We always like to get a good feel for how far Tiger Nation really expands, and maybe it's Tiger World, if you will, here in this one. I wouldn't be surprised. I think we saw Chris Coffey in the live chat of one of our previous games out here in Kansas City. Wouldn't be surprised if that young man who was playing professionally in Greece says hello at some point during the live stream. So fans, make sure you're chatting here on YouTube, and let us know what you've got going on. If you've got some kind of spread, make sure you party going on, a watch party going on, listening party as well. Make sure to use hashtag Tiger Pride on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and we'll look through some of those and maybe read off some of your comments and well wishes as we continue on here in Kansas City. Again, both teams on the floor right now. We are about 13 minutes away from the tap of this one. Penny Childress, hello to you. Grandmother of Tiger alum Darren Boyd, who's now playing at the Division I level at Lipscomb. He had a very, very fine season there. And so D. Boyd wants a Tiger, always a Tiger. And so we appreciate the Boyd family continuing to support Georgetown from back home. We're going to step aside here for the moment. Keep the chats coming in on YouTube. Make sure you're tagging using the hashtag Tiger Pride on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and we'll be looking through those as we go forward. But right now, we're going to take one more break here as Georgetown and Indiana Tech still going through their warm-ups ahead of this semifinal, the winner advancing to tomorrow night's national championship game to take on the College of Idaho from Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City. Tiger fans, Tiger alum listening from all over the place. We certainly appreciate you dropping a line here in the chat. We see we've a couple Indiana Tech fans here in the chat as well. We welcome you in to our live audio stream of the game. Again, per NAIA regulations, our stream here on the Georgetown Tigers Athletics YouTube channel is audio only, and so more of a radio-style broadcast. Wilburn Fitzpatrick, who played at Georgetown from 1981 to 1983, tuning in here. Certainly appreciate you tuning in here. Appreciate everything you've done for Georgetown College over the years, Mr. Fitzpatrick. Again, we love seeing all the chat coming in, and should be a good one here. And we enjoy the fun back and forth here between the Tigers fans and the Warriors fans also here in the chat as well. Georgetown has left the floor for now. We're just a little over 8 minutes away from the introduction of the lineups and the tip of today's game. Really good atmosphere. It always is out here in Kansas City to boot. These two teams have some nice contingent coming out here from the Midwest. We also saw a lot of purple here earlier today in Kansas City for the support for the College of Idaho. And again, the Yotes are on to the championship game, hanging on to beat Ottawa 73-72 earlier in action today. Here is the starting lineup for the Georgetown College Tigers. Again, the Tigers will be without the services of Cam Brooks Harris, who had to fly back home to Ohio to attend a family matter, and thus he is not here today in Kansas City. So Tay Dozier moves back into the starting lineup for the Tigers alongside Jake Omer and Jaquay Wales, and also, of course, the front court duo of Kyron Jones and Drew Lamont. And Drew Lamont has not quite had the offensive output I know he is expecting to have out here. He has just 7 points, or excuse me, just 9 points in the 2 games out here in Kansas City, but he's been much more relied upon for his defensive efforts, particularly in the post, because both Grace and Langston have had a lot of size, and Georgetown needed a strong body inside to try and counteract that, and that's been Drew Lamont's task here, and it'll likely be that case here again today in this game against Indiana Tech, because the Warriors present so much size against the Tigers to deal with. Again, not all of them play, but 7 players go 6'6" or taller for the Warriors in this one, and so that'll be interesting to see how does Georgetown manage that, given that they have one less tall player to use inside. And so you're looking at likely a 3-man combo inside, and it's going to press Rashad Bishop into some more critical minutes in this one. Bishop has been quiet here in Kansas City, and I think part of that's because Kyron Jones has been so dominant here in KC. 47 points and 27 rebounds in the first 2 games here in Missouri, and it's been a big reason why Georgetown is here in the Fab Four. Of course, Kyron Jones and Jake Omer combined for 57 in the win over Grace. They were major factors in that 2020 team that got its chance to repeat, wiped out because of COVID. And so I had the chance to ask Jake Omer about that yesterday, as he was our star of the game. You can go back to our YouTube channel, listen to that at the end of the game against Grace. Hear Omer kind of talk about his thoughts, wanting to get back here, knowing it was his last go-around here in a Tiger uniform, and wanted to atone for that and lead his team. And it took Omer a few games to get going in the tournament. Had averaged right around 16 the first 3 tourney games, but of course yesterday going off as Georgetown has just taken the floor down to our left. Again, Georgetown will be going from right to left in the first half, as we are right behind the Georgetown bench. The Tigers will wear the black uniforms again with the orange numerals and lettering, and of course the white trim around the collar and sleeves. Indiana Tech wearing the gray home uniforms. They'll have orange and white trim down along the side. That's the interesting thing with these two teams. A lot of black and orange here in Kansas City, and so you got to look kind of close to see what particular fan is supporting what particular program here in this one. But nevertheless, should be a good one here. And again, I think points are going to be hard to come by in this game. The way these two teams defend, and I know Georgetown gave up 85 points to Grace yesterday, but the Tigers also did a yeoman's work in taking advantage of mistakes. 25 points off of 16 Grace turnovers. Really a huge, huge reason why Georgetown was able to get by the top seed in the Dewar Quadrant to get here to the Fab Four. Both teams average about 11 turnovers per game and force right around that same number to boot. And so ball security there, but as I mentioned earlier, rebounding I think is really going to tell the story of this game. If there is one team that can really assert itself on the glass, I think that's the team that's going to have a best shot to win this game and to move on to the national title game tomorrow to take on the College of Idaho, who, as we mentioned before, escaped a near 23-point blown lead for the Yotes as they had to hang on late to hold off the Cinderella story, the 7-seed Ottawa out of the Kramer Quadrant for a 73-72 win. And, of course, College of Idaho to the title game. They are the number one overall seed in the tournament with a record of 34-1, and that one loss came in their season opener against Arizona Christian. Going to step aside one last time as we're just a couple of minutes away from the introduction of the starting lineup. You're going to hear the starting lineups for both teams and the tap. The Fab Four is just about to get underway. Georgetown looking to get to its 8th national championship game. They'll have to go through Indiana Tech to do it on the other side of this break.
national anthem dance tournament.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, a legend dance tournament. Thank you. And now, fans, it's time to meet today's starting lineups. First, our number 3 seeded Georgetown Tigers. Kicking out number 2, 6'1", senior guard, Jake Bowler. Number 3, 5'11", junior guard, Chuck Wales. Number 6'5", freshman guard, Kenny Dozier. Number 21, 6'5", junior forward, Jones. And number 22, 6'8", senior forward, Drew Lott. Georgetown is led by head coach Chris Briggs. The honorary coach for the Tigers is Kissick Construction. Representing Kissick Construction is Rick and Luke Austin. Your Georgetown Tigers. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the number 2 seeded Indiana Tech Warriors. Tryout number 1, 6'6", graduate guard, Grant Smith. Number 2, 6'6", graduate forward, Rob Stein. Number 4, 6'1", graduate guard, Corey McKinney. Number 20, 6'1", sophomore guard, Blake Davison. And number 22, 6'9", graduate forward, Josh Klein. The Warriors are led by head coach Ted Albert. Honorary coach for Indiana Tech is Mr. KC. Representing Mr. KC is Brooks McLaughlin and Aubrey.
There you hear the starting lineups introduced for both sides here for Georgetown. Jake Omer, Jaquay Wales, Tate Dozier, Kyron Jones, Drew Lott. And for Indiana Tech, Grant Smith, Raj Stein, Corey McKinney, Blake Davidson, and Josh Klein. Glad you are here with us in Kansas City. Remember, this is an audio-only broadcast per NAIA regulations. Not able to bring you a video stream here, so more of a radio-style call here in this one. Georgetown wearing the road black uniforms, orange letters and numerals, white trim. Indiana Tech wearing the home gray uniforms, white letters and numbers with orange trim around the collar and down the sides. It'll be Josh Klein and Drew Lamont opposing number 22s on each side to tap it up. And the ball is in the air. The opening tap controlled by Georgetown. Jaquay Wales will set up the offense. Just 22 minutes he played in the win over Grace due to early foul trouble. He'll be expected to carry a big load here today. Here's Kyron Jones, right side down the lane. He's cut off by Klein, kicks it deep to Lamont, and the reset to Jones, facing up about 15 feet away. 10 seconds to shoot. Jones driving inside, uses his shoulder to clear space. Shot is a wild one. The rebound pulled down by Davidson. And Indiana Tech comes down the floor for the first time. Corey McKinney to run the offense. He's the WHAC Defensive Player of the Year. But sets things up. Now right side, Grant Smith. Now to Klein, posted up against Lamont. Klein inside. The banker is no good. Kyron Jones has the first rebound. Jones into the front court, right wing, hands off to Wales around a screen. Wales around a second screen from Omer, now resets straight away. Left side, Tate Dozier circles to the top. Dozier Sigs out the play, dribbles with the left hand, 15 to shoot. Omer can't get free on a screen on the right. Instead, it's to Kyron Jones. Hand off. Tay Dozier thinking about a deep one, doesn't take it. Dozier had it poked away, got it back at the top of the key. Dozier fall away from 10. Good! Tay Dozier falling away to his left knocks down the first points of this semifinal. A minute 20 in. Raj Stein, the WHAC Player of the Year down the lane. The lob is up, and it'll be inside. An offensive foul as Stein went to throw the lob to Klein, and he barreled over Drew Lamont, and so a big foul early. It's against the Warriors' Raj Stein, who again was the WHAC Player of the Year this year. He commits the offensive foul as Lamont was set up in plenty of time. See as we go forward if Georgetown can get off to a better start than it has in either of the two first games here in Kansas City. Wales, Lamont on the left wing, handles off to Dozier. Dozier at the elbow. Fall away from 15. Good! Tay Dozier taking advantage of the 6'1" Blake Davison, and Dozier's hit 2 from the mid-range. It's 4-0 in favor of Georgetown. Stein goes to the top straight away to Grant Smith. Smith being checked by Omer behind a screen. Smith fakes a 3 to the foul line, picks up a dribble, over the head pass to Stein in the far corner. Stein wants to go against Kyron Jones. Tough shot inside, no good. Kyron Jones pulls down the rebound, and Jones leaves it for Dozier to bring it into the front court. Dozier at the top, working against Smith now on a switch, goes around him, off the window, no good as he was defended late by Josh Klein. McKinney into the front court, charging, stopping at the elbow. He's cut off by Jones. Bounce feed inside. Klein, no good. Got his own rebound back, basket, and the foul. And the foul is on Drew Lamont. And I had mentioned in the pregame that Lamont was going to have to be the guy who stayed out of foul trouble in this game. And instead, he picks up the foul here early as Klein goes to the line. He's a 62% shooter on the year, averaging just under 12 points in the tournament. The free throw is good, and so Indiana Tech has cut the Georgetown lead down to 1, 17:30 to go in the first half. Wales walks into the front court, now work right wing against Smith. Omer touches it for the first time. Down the right wing, Omer floater from 10, good! Good start here for Georgetown as Tay Dozier and Jake Omer continuing their run from yesterday. Quickly the other way, a lay-in is good for McKinney as he blew right by Dozier down the left side for the basket, McKinney's first points. Much more known for his defensive prowess, McKinney averages just 8 points a game. Lamont facing up against Stein on the left wing. Both of these players have a foul. Wales now has it at the top. Wales between the legs, now crossover, cut off at the elbow by Smith, 10 to shoot. Wales working against the 6'6" Smith. Wales blows by Smith for the lay-in. Both teams using their speed at the guard position for buckets. And Jaquay Wales on the board. It's an 8-5 Georgetown lead, 16:30 to go in the half. McKinney jump pass to Stein at the elbow, hands off to Davidson at the foul line. Jumper in and out, and Kyron Jones clears down his third rebound. Georgetown in transition. Wales through traffic, bounce feed inside to Jones. Nowhere to go with the double team. Dozier down the lane for the slam. They double team Jones right underneath the cylinder. It left Dozier all alone streaking, and Dozier with 6. The Tiger lead is 5, 4 minutes in. Stein around a screen, cut off with the elbow, now gives to Davison right wing. Davison working baseline, throws it away. Wanted a foul call against Lamont, won't get it, turns it over. Omer in space. Bounce feed over to Wales, left corner, a 3-ball. No, it is short all the way. Ball's tapped up into the air and pulled down by Smith. Smith lost it, turned over. Lamont over to Jake Omer, and Omer lays it in. Smith ran right into the body of Drew Lamont, who was standing straight up, and Omer takes advantage. It's a 12-5 Georgetown lead. The Tigers now 6 of 9 from the field to start this game. In the far corner, McKinney trying to drive into the paint. The jump pass out. Grant Smith wants a 3. He is not a good three-point shooter. That 3 is not even close, and Lamont clears the board, and it is all Georgetown right now. 15-10 to go in the half. Omer, a 30-footer. Yes, and the foul! Are you kidding me? He pulled up right in front of McKinney, some 8 feet beyond the three-point line. Nailed the three-pointer and also got fouled by McKinney. We have a timeout on the floor. 15:08 to go in the first half. Georgetown not off to a slow start here today. They are 7 of 10 from the field and lead by 10. I would be remiss if I didn't let the Briggs contingent let you know that they are here in Kansas City. That's Chris Briggs' daughters, Reagan and Delaney, letting you know what is going on. My goodness, what a torrid start for Georgetown from the field. 7 of 10 from the field. Jake Omer about to go to the foul line to try to cap off a 4-point play. I could not believe the shot he threw up as he just stepped right in front of McKinney. And as I said before the break, about 8 feet behind the three-point line, almost out near the NAIA logo at center court. Nailed the three. McKinney knocked him to the floor. And so Omer's got a shot at a 4-point play once these teams break the huddle and head back onto the floor. Just an incredible start for the Georgetown Tigers. Much, much different, but Georgetown should know better than anybody. Still a long way to go in this one. The Tigers had to rally from double-digit deficits in their last 2 games against Grace and Langston. They are well aware that it can happen. And so the teams head back onto the floor. Indiana Tech will send on Lucas Lehrman for the first time, a 6'10 forward. Try and give it a little more size inside. Omer will step to the line to complete the 4-point play. He is a 78% foul shooter on the season, and the free throw rolls out, and Lehrman pulls down the board. Free throws were a problem in the first half for Georgetown yesterday. Not in the second half. Smith in the paint, kicks it out. Far corner, Steve Helm with the ball at the elbow, stops. Near side, Corey McKinney, right wing with Wales has a hand in his face. McKinney trying to drive baseline. Wales cuts him off. Jump pass, and somehow found Grant Smith on a cut for a lay-in. McKinney dribbled himself into trouble and found Smith at the last moment. First points for Grant Smith. It's 15-7 in favor of the Tigers. Kyron Jones crossing over against the 6'10 Lehrman. Crossover inside and just undressed Lehrman for the lay-in, and that got everybody on the Tiger bench hooting and hollering. First points for Kyron Jones. Helm hands off to Smith around a screen, stopping at the foul line, trying to work his way to the baseline, pull up from 8, rattles home. Grant Smith now with 4 in a row for the Warriors, trying to settle his team down after the hot start Georgetown got off to. Dozier will walk into the front court this time for the Tigers. Georgetown yet to go to its bench. Chris Briggs usually likes to go to that bench around the 12-minute mark. We have 14 minutes to go here in the first half. Ball reversal, Lamont, right wing 3. No, just off the front iron, and Stein pulls down the board. It looked good off the hand, just a hair short. Smith with a crossover, working with the left hand against Wales. Stop at about the 10-foot mark, trying to keep his dribble. Somehow still does. Fires up an awkward shot that's no good. Lamont pulls down the rebound. Dozier pulls it up into the front corner of the right wing against Helm, and now slows down. Lamont, left side to Omer, I should say. Omer steps around a screen, a 3 off the back iron. Omer, little off balance there. Stole the ball away from him and got it back. Kyron Jones, far side. Omer, corner 3 is short again. Tay Dozier with the offensive rebound. Lamont up top, he wants a 3. It is no good, and Georgetown with golden opportunities. They come up short 3 times on that sequence. This side on the baseline is Helm, jumping in the air. His shot is no good. Kyron Jones taps it to Jake Omer. 2-on-2. Wales shuffles off to Omer on the right side. Omer down the lane, around Smith for the easy lay-in. Smith held back, thinking Omer was going to pull up for the 3. Omer drives instead. He has 9. The Georgetown lead back to 10. We'll see Tommy Thomas and Rashad Bishop into the game at the next whistle for Georgetown. Also, Jabrion Spikes coming. Smith. Pass low, down low to 6'10" Lehrman. He somehow saved it to Stein in the left corner. Stein with 10 against Kyron Jones. Trying to back Jones down. Jones trying to hold his ground. Stein with the left hand off the glass. Way too strong. Lamont has the rebound, and Indiana Tech's 4 of 12 to start. In transition, Wales on the left corner. Doesn't want a 3. Smith was allowing him to have it, but Wales not a 3-point threat. He'll back it out. 15 seconds to shoot. Tigers spreading everything out. Wales will take a 25-footer and hit it. Never mind, I take back what I said about him not being a three-point threat. Timeout, Indiana Tech. Jaquay Wales goes bombski from three. 12:01 to go in the first half. It remains all Georgetown at 22-9 here in Kansas City. I don't know if Jaquay Wales has an earpiece in that he's listening to my call of the game. As I said, he's not a three-point threat. 5 seconds later, he hits one about 5 feet beyond the three-point line to put Georgetown up 22-9 with 12:01 to go in the first half. Just a hot start all the way around. It's just the second three for Georgetown on the day. They got the one from Omer earlier, but the Tigers right now against the bigger Indiana Tech team. Georgetown is 8 for 10 inside the three-point line, and thus far even in terms of total rebounds with 8 apiece. The Tigers have also not turned the basketball over to this point. They've converted on 4 Indiana Tech turnovers into 4 points. Max Perez will come in for the Warriors out of the timeout, a 5'11 sophomore from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Had 15 points in the opening round win over IU South Bend on 5 made threes, but has not scored here in Kansas City. It'll be Warriors basketball. Steve Helm to inbound, and he'll do so to McKinney. And McKinney will walk it up into the front court. As we go under 12 minutes to go, we'll have immediate timeout after the next dead ball. McKinney on the left side being harassed by Wales. Hands off to Lehrman, and now back to McKinney between the circles. Left side, Perez got a clean look at a three as Omer got pinned down behind a screen. The three is no good. Wales taps it to Spikes, and Jabrion Spikes hustling into the front court. Right side to Jake Omer. Kyron Jones and Tate Dozier on the bench right now for the Tigers. Tommy Thomas to Wales, straight away being defended by Helm. 15 seconds to shoot. Bishop coming out for a screen. Wales will take it and go left, top of the key. Wales will take a long jumper. It is good. A long two for Jaquay Wales, and Wales has been quiet thus far here in Kansas City, but not today. He has 7, and it's a 15-point Georgetown lead. Helm at the top, trying to find it to McKinney, and does on the left. Around 2 screens, McKinney works to the right wing. Perez, quick release, corner three is good. Omer got there just a hair late, and Max Perez scores for the first time in Kansas City. It's his 53rd three of the season, and the Warriors really needed to see one go in from distance as they now trail 24-12. Wales has it, top of the key. Bishop gets knocked down on a screen exchange. Tommy Thomas driving right side, picks up the dribble, skip pass left side. Wales, three-pointer is short all the way. Bishop had it, lost it, finds its way into the hands of Perez as Bishop and Lehrman go down behind the play. Perez in the right wing trying to bounce it inside to Stein, couldn't do it. Now Stein feeds back to Lehrman. Left wing, McKinney doesn't want the three. Into the far left corner. Helm, a rainmaker three is no good. Tommy Thomas has the board. Thomas into the front court, driving with his left hand on Stein with the left hand lay-in, not there, and a foul is called as the shot went up. They're going to get Lehrman away from the ball, saying Lehrman used his arm to clear out space on the offensive rebound. And now Kyron Jones and Seth Johnson into the game for Georgetown. $10:16 to go. Looks like they may have said that timeout at 12:01. They'll just go ahead and count that as the immediate timeout. So it'll be a Georgetown inbound on the baseline with 20 seconds to shoot, and Spikes will inbound. Bishop takes the inbound pass and throws it all the way to the far right side to Seth Johnson. Johnson back to Thomas. Tommy Thomas behind the back to Jabrion Spikes. Straight away, Spikes working against McKinney. 10 seconds. The Tiger bench letting Spikes know. Down to 5. Tommy Thomas. Floater from 10. Good! Klein did not want to go out and challenge at and risk a foul. Thomas hits the little floater. It's 26-12 in favor of Georgetown. The Tigers shooting 57%. Helm has it left wing, being checked by Thomas. Now works to the top. A little bump from Bishop. We play on. Helm down the lane. Basket is good. Bishop would have been called for interference anyway as he put a hand up through the cylinder. And Steve Helm on the board. 26-14 in favor of Georgetown. 9:30 to go in the first half. Jones hands off to Seth Johnson at the top, working against Perez. Johnson trying to work. Bounce feed to Bishop on the left block, working against Klein. Hook shot from 8, bounces in, kept the front iron and dropped. And these Tiger players inside not afraid to challenge despite their lack of height against the Warriors. And Georgetown has doubled up Indiana Tech with 9:05 to go. Stein trying to bully Jones down the lane. It's an offensive foul, and that is 2 on Stein. He put the shoulder into Jones's chest 3 times. The third time was the charm for the Tigers. And now Stein, the WHAC Player of the Year, will sit with 2 fouls with 9:03 to go in the half, and he is more than frustrated. I think more so with himself. That was a clear offensive foul. It's the 5th Warrior turnover, and Georgetown will look to take advantage. Spikes will walk it up the floor this time. Dozier and Wales and also Omer on the bench. So a different lineup here for Georgetown. Spikes is going to be handling a lot of the point. Kyron Jones at the elbow trying to cross over on Jeremy Luciani, who's into the game. Steps over, 17-footer way off to the left. Seth Johnson fighting inside. Lost it as he went down to the floor. It's eventually picked up by Brady Titus, and the Warriors are off and running. Bounce feed and a nice play as Davidson lays it in off of a gorgeous bounce pass. Cross-court bounce pass that was from Brady Titus. And Indiana Tech takes advantage in transition. 8:20 to go. Jones working against Luciani on the left side this time. Doesn't want anything. Now to Thomas on the deep wing. Thomas from the elbow. The jumper, yes! Tommy Thomas has loved the mid-range game over the last 6 weeks. He has 4 off the bench. Georgetown keeps the pressure on. It's 30-16 with 8 minutes to go in the half. Titus behind a screen from Luciani. He'll take a contested 18-footer that's not there. Spikes closed out well. Thomas has the rebound. Tommy Thomas into the front court. Top of the key, left wing to Seth Johnson. Johnson into the paint. Cut off. Goes up through traffic, and not a good decision there from Seth Johnson as he was blocked. But a turnover in the backcourt. Tommy Thomas lays it in. Luciani had the rebound and threw it over to Titus, who was not looking. It bounced off Titus's backside. Thomas says thanks a lot. And everything going Georgetown's way. Klein at the top. Hands off to Davison. Davison to the right wing, chased out by Tommy Thomas. Reversal inside to Klein. Klein wants to pass to the opposite corner. Perez, good closeout by Johnson. 8 seconds. Perez inside, and a foul is going to be called against Johnson. Should have been called a hook on Perez as he took his left arm and cleared Johnson out from behind, but instead Seth Johnson is called for his first foul. Timeout on the floor. 7 minutes and 6 seconds to go. It remains all Tigers here in the Fab Four, 32-16 in Kansas City. Welcome back to the Fab Four here in Kansas City. Georgetown with a 32-16 lead over Indiana Tech with 7:06 to go in the first half. Balanced scoring attack thus far for Georgetown. Jake Omer leads everybody in the game with 9. Jaquay Wales has 7. Tommy Thomas and Tay Dozier each with 6. And 2 points apiece from Kyron Jones and Rashad Bishop. And if you're Georgetown, you got to love the fact that you have such a big lead despite not having much offensive production from Kyron Jones, knowing what Jones has done in the second half of games out here in Kansas City. 38 points and 17 rebounds after the halftime break here in Kansas City in 2 games thus far for Kyron Jones. Max Perez steps to the line. He's just 7 of 11 on the season. He hits the first free throw, his 4th point of the day. One more coming here for the sophomore out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Averages just 5 points per game on the season, and the free throw rattles in. He now has 5 here in the game as Grant Smith comes into the game for Perez. Good minutes for Perez, providing some kind of punch off the bench for the Warriors. They need all the help they can get right now with 7:05 to go in the half and trailing by 14. Spikes walks it into the front court, hands off to Jones. Jones at the top of the key, trying to get Spikes free. Smith is face guarding Spikes. Instead, Jones inside, muscles it up and in, just went right through the chest of Luciani and put it in. Jones with his second basket. Made that look easy despite Luciani going 6'8". Now back on this side for the Warriors. Davison at the top of the key, working inside of the paint. Pull up from 10, rattles out. Luciani with the tip on the right side. Luciani's first points. He averages just 3 points per game. First points in the last 4 games for the senior out of Marshall, Michigan. Georgetown, though, still with a 14-point lead, 6:15 to go in the half. Spikes reversal to Jones at the top of the key. Georgetown still maintaining the lead with Omer and Dozier on the bench. And speaking of, they're going to come back in, but we have a foul first as Luciani tried to steal the ball away, caught Jones up in the eye. It is the first foul on Luciani. And so it's the team's 5th. Seth Johnson and Tommy Thomas out as Omer and Dozier come back in. Really good minutes from both Seth Johnson and Tommy Thomas to spell Omer and Dozier and get those two an extra breather. Those two are going to be counted on down the stretch. Now out of the timeout, or out of the inbound, I should say, Indiana Tech has gone to a zone here, a 2-3 look to try to slow things down for Georgetown. Spikes in the right side corner, takes a 3. It's well short. Dozier with the tap, not there. Bishop inside fighting for it. Rashad Bishop gets the ball back and puts it in. Bishop just bullied his way for the offensive rebound and put it in. And Bishop now with 4. McKinney stops from mid-range, kicks out to Smith at the top, working inside to Klein, who got great position on Bishop for the lay-in. Klein was almost inside the restricted area when he got established. Klein now with 5. 36-22 with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first half. Indiana Tech staying in that zone. Dozier on the right wing to Spikes in the right corner. Doesn't take the 3 this time. Dozier deep on the right wing. Now to Bishop in the right corner. 15-footer, well short the entire way. And Kyron Jones is held on the rebound. No, take that. They're going to give Kyron Jones a foul. They're saying Jones used a forearm. I thought he'd get his arm yanked down, but instead Jones picks up his first. Jaquay Wales and Drew Lamont in for Jabrion Spikes and Rashad Bishop. What an awkward play that was. Jones was spun around with the left arm, I thought at least. But in either case, it is a foul called against Kyron Jones. It is his first. Grant Smith takes it at the top of the key, hands off to Davison trying to get clear. Wales stays with him. Smith got space this time. Omer went for the pump fake. Smith floater inside off the back iron, got his own rebound back, puts the shot up, and it's no good, but he is fouled on the inside. And the foul is on Tay Dozier. That is his first and the team's 3rd. Check that team's 4th. Grant Smith at the line. First free throw is good. He's a 69% shooter on the season and brings Indiana Tech within 13, still with one more free throw to come. And the second free throw rattles out. Klein fighting for the rebound, went down to the floor And now on the floor, we've got a timeout called by Indiana Tech, as Georgetown could not secure the board. And so the Warriors would have maintained possession anyway on the arrow, but instead they'll take a timeout here, and we'll do so as well. 4:49 to go in the first half. Indiana Tech trying to creep back in. They'll have the ball, trying to get back to an 11, maybe 10 on the other side of this break. Indiana Tech exploited a size advantage yesterday in the win over Arizona Christian, starting to find some rhythm there as they have the ball back. Smith stops right elbow, reversal to McKinney on the left wing to the far corner. Luciani's three is good. Just the 14th three of the season for Jeremy Luciani, and now the Warriors are within 10 at 36-26 with 4:30 to go in the half. Georgetown does not want to see a role reversal of what they've experienced the last two games. Wales to the right elbow to Kyron Jones at the foul line, working against Luciani. Nothing is there. No movement from the Tigers at the moment. It's Jones one-on-one. Jones at the elbow, shuffles off to Lamont. Lamont pulls up at the foul line. Jumper is off the back iron. Jones has the offensive board, and he'll back it out. Lamont thought about one from about 26 feet and turned it down. Hands off to Dozier. Right side to Wales. 10 seconds. Dozier takes it back on the right wing, working against Grant Smith. Wants a screen. Dozier working on the baseline. Crossover. Step back. 18-footer is short all the way. Not good offense there from Georgetown. A lot of one-on-one action. McKinney hustling back on the near side. Working away inside. Turned around. Back. Luciani. Another three way off the mark. And Jones pulls down the board off to Omer. Let's see if Georgetown can get Jake Omer going again after a long breather for the guard. Omer inside, takes it himself. He is fouled and will go to the line to shoot two. Shot nearly dropped in, has hit the back and the front of the rim, but bounced out. Grant Smith picks up the foul. It is his first and the team's sixth as we have a timeout on the floor. Indiana Tech starting to come to life here. Jake Omer trying to keep him at bay as the Tigers lead by 10 with 3:33 to go in the half. About the only thing I haven't had happen to me is the Briggs family slapped me on the back of the head asking to make their voices heard, but they have been tremendous here in Kansas City, and they've been all smiles thus far here in this one as Georgetown has a 10-point lead with 3:33 to go in the first half. The winner of this game will head to tomorrow's national championship game to take on the College of Idaho. The number 1 overall seed had to hang on as they nearly gave away a 23-point lead with 12 minutes to go, escaping over Ottawa 73-72 to get to the title game. The College of Idaho will be in to look for their first Division I championship. They won a D2 title back in 1996. Georgetown, meanwhile, looking to get back and see College of Idaho. If so, it would be Georgetown's 8th championship game appearance, still looking for title number 4. So out of the timeout, Jake Omer will step to the free throw line. Omer still leads the game in scoring with 9 points. He did miss a free throw after he knocked down a three-pointer. It's the only free throw Georgetown's attempted to this point. First free throw for the senior is perfect. Point number 10 for Jake Omer. Doesn't want today to be his swan song in a Tiger uniform. One more for the Scott High School grad. Perfect. 11 now for Omer. The lead back to 12 as we approach the 3-minute mark. McKinney will walk into the front court. Now Dozier checks McKinney. Straight away, Luciani. Left wing back to McKinney. They're trying to get Klein loose inside against Lamont. Lamont denies well. Smith on the right wing, still trying to find it inside. And now Lamont get a little too physical with the forearm, and Drew Lamont has picked up his second foul. It'll be the team's 5th. An interesting decision here for Chris Briggs. Do you leave Lamont in for now? No. And I think it's the right call here because you have to figure Indiana Tech would go right back into Klein to see if they could get foul number 3 on Lamont. Instead, Bishop comes off the bench. And this is where you miss Cam Brooks Harris to have another big body inside. Again, Brooks Harris not with the team today due to a personal matter back in Ohio. A family matter, I should say. Perez, a wild floater in the lane, is pulled down by Jones. I don't know what that was other than Perez hoping for contact. Jones will walk it into the front court. Wales comes behind to take it near the midcourt line. 3 minutes to go in the first half of this Fab Four game. Tigers still working their offense. Bishop sets a screen on the right side for Wales, who dribbles behind the back at the elbow, picks up the dribble. Bishop inside, working against Klein. Lost on the way up, still put it up, got it up on the rim. There is Tate Dozier inside, but missed one from point-blank range. It's pulled down by Luciani. Perez hustles into the front court and nearly lost it into the backcourt. McKinney slows it down for the moment. McKinney working against Wales on this possession, now switches to Omer. Smith straight away, trying to feed it inside, and now Rashad Bishop is going to get called for a foul, trying to work around Klein inside. It'll be Bishop's first and the team's 6th. Smith will take it out on the end line. 20 seconds to shoot. Does so to Luciani in the right wing. Still want Klein inside. He's matched up against Bishop. Bishop's fighting for all he's worth. Smith to the far left corner. Perez working against Wales. Thought about a 3. He'll drive the baseline instead. Perez hooked the arm again. Got away with it. McKinney, reversal. Back to Perez. Shot clock at 5. Perez down the lane. Lost his dribble and lost his footing. Indiana Tech fans want a foul. They won't get it. It's turned over to Georgetown. The 7th Warrior turnover. I think Perez just got going too fast down that left side and just stumbled over his own foot. And so Wales will walk it into the front court for the Tigers. Right wing, 2 minutes to go in the half. Omer off a screen, straight away, nothing there. McKinney closed out. Omer working, still McKinney on the left side. Omer inside, through contact, no good. Tapped up by Bishop, no good. Jones had it ripped away by McKinney, and the Warriors want to run. McKinney to the left side. Smith in transition, wing 3 is no good. The rebound is tapped up into the hands of Bishop. He lost it. Wales picks it up into the front court, and now Wales is saved by Kyron Jones after Wales was nearly tied up. Jones will slow it down. 90 seconds to go in the half. Omer wants to post up on Perez on the left side. Double team comes, and Omer is fouled going up for the shot. It should be a foul on Perez, and it is. It'll be Perez's first and the team's 7th. So Jake Omer returns to the foul line. He's the only Tiger that's been there so far in the first half. He's 2 for 3. First free throw well short, barely drew the front iron. Blake Davison returns for the Warriors, replacing Grant Smith. One more for Omer to try and pick up point number 12 and push the lead back to 13. This one is good. 39-26, Georgetown leads with 1:25 to go in the half. Left side, Luciani out deep to McKinney. Perez now posts up against Klein, working against Bishop. Klein inside, Omer shows a double team, kicks it out, ball reversal. McKinney gets a look at a 3. It is good. Good work out of the double team by the Warriors. McKinney has his first 3 of the day, and the Warriors are back within 10 at 39-29. Wales around a hedge to the top of the key. Patient as he is, 45 seconds to go in the half, 15 to shoot. Kyron Jones left wing. Now in the corner. Thought about a three on Luciani and now going to try and drive instead. Jones shuffles off to Bishop, who is fouled. Basket is no good. Rashad Bishop will shoot 2 free throws as Josh Klein picks up his first foul. It's the team's 8th with 37.1 on the clock in the half. Bishop will step to the line. Just 7 points in 23 minutes here in Kansas City. He is just a 56% foul shooter. He does have 4 points here in the first half to go along with 3 rebounds. The first free throw for the freshman is too strong, and Georgetown doing what they've done all week long here in Kansas City, leaving points at the foul line in the first half. One more for the redshirt freshman from Louisville. 3 spins of the ball, 1 dribble, and the release. Sidewinder is no good. Not even close on those 2 free throws for Bishop. About a 6-second differential between game and shot clock here. Indiana Tech, I'm sure, would be thrilled if they could get it under 10 going into halftime. McKinney gets a screen from Klein. Elbow jumper is too strong, and Dozier pulls it down. The Tigers will have 20 seconds. Dozier hustling down the lane. A foul is called. I'm surprised Dozier was so aggressive there in transition, but he'll go to the line as he picks up a foul on Davison. It's the first on Blake Davison and the 9th against the Warriors. Dozier will go to the line. 70% shooter on the season. He has 6 points and 4 boards here in the first half. Free throw is good. Point number 7 for the freshman as the Tigers will send Tommy Thomas into the game for Jake Omer for the final 16 seconds. Dozier with those pink shoes on at the free throw line. Free throw is short. Never bent his knees on it. The Tigers are now 4 of 9 at the line. McKinney hustling with 10 seconds. Left wing, he'll slow it down for the moment. Trying to get Perez a look. Instead, McKinney turns it down. Right wing. Luciani picks the dribble with 5 seconds. Ball out in the air. Tommy Thomas has it. Up ahead. Jaquay Wales, three-pointer. It'll count. No good off the left side. And we have reached halftime here in Kansas City. It was all Georgetown in the first half of this one as the Tigers got off to the hot start early and never looked back. Georgetown has never trailed in this game. Here at halftime, they lead Indiana Tech in this Fab Four matchup, 40-29 in Kansas City. You're taking a look at the halftime numbers here in Kansas City. Georgetown led the duration of the first half, never trailed, in fact, was never tied in the first half, en route to a 40-29 lead. The Tigers shoot 45% in the first half. Indiana Tech just 39% in the first 20 minutes. Neither team doing much from the three-point line, but the free throw line, Georgetown leaving points on the board, and that's got to change here in the second half. It did in the win over Grace. The Tigers hit 11 of 12 free throws in the second half against Grace to get to this game. They'll need, I think, somewhere around a similar effort here if they're going to try and hang on to this one and get to tomorrow's title game. Another area to keep an eye on, that fifth row down, the turnovers. No turnovers in the first half for Georgetown, and spectacular number there. Indiana Tech's not a team that forces a lot. They force right around 12 turnovers per game, but still, tremendous job by the Tigers to take care of the basketball in the first half and also force 8 Indiana Tech turnovers. Only 6 points off those turnovers, but nevertheless, keeping that pressure on the Warriors in the first half has allowed Georgetown to carry a double-digit lead for most of the first half. Jaquay Wales, a nice first half for him, 7 points in total, tied with Tay Dozier for the second most in the game, really, I should say. Jake Omer leads everybody with 12. You see on the right side there for Indiana Tech, you want to talk about balance? 5 players with 5 points each for the Warriors in the first half to be the leading scorer on their side. Smith, McKinney, Perez, Klein, and Luciani all with 5 points apiece. Big factor, though, Raj Stein, the WHAC Player of the Year, picked up 2 fouls midway through the first half, did not score in the first half. You have to assume, if you're Tigers fans, that Stein is going to get his offensive game going in the second half. And so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Really good minutes for Georgetown out of Tommy Thomas and Rashad Bishop off the bench in the first half. The duo combined for 10 points and 5 rebounds on 5 of 9 shooting. Seth Johnson, Javion Spikes also providing some nice minutes defensively, in particular to give Wales and Omer an extended breather around the midway point in the first half. And Drew Lamont, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, has not scored, but again, he's been tasked with being more of a defensive guy in this one. And he did pick up 2 fouls in that first half, and so we'll be curious to see how things shake out there for Lamont. And you have to assume for Georgetown that Josh Klein is going to see the ball a lot here in the second half going against Lamont. Klein, a first-team All-WHAC performer, has just 5 points in the half. He's been averaging 11-plus in the tournament. But thus far, all good for Georgetown. But again, the Tigers know what it's like to come back from a double-digit deficit here in Kansas City. Now they'll have to work on a double-digit deficit as the team in the lead. We'll see if they can do it here as the second half is coming up here in just a matter of moments in Kansas City. just about to get the second half going in this second Fab Four game here in Kansas City. Georgetown fans hoping we don't see a repeat of what happened in the first semifinal as the College of Idaho took a 23-point lead with 12 minutes to go in the second half against Ottawa. And the Spirit fought all the way back, twice getting within one inside of 30 seconds to go, but just could not get over the hump. And the College of Idaho, the number one overall seed, escaped with a 73-72 win, thus advancing to tomorrow night's national championship game. College of Idaho will be going for their first D1 championship. They won a championship back in 1996 in the Division II level of the NAIA, back when there were two divisions before the merger a few years ago. And so thus trying to make history there. College of Idaho, as you saw there, 34-1 on the season. That one loss came in their season opener by 4 points to Arizona Christian, who fell to Indiana Tech yesterday here in Kansas City. So Indiana Tech not afraid of the big boys in front of them, and you have to figure they're going to get themselves going and try and make a rally here in the second half against the Georgetown Tigers, who have led from the start. There has not even been a tie in this game. Georgetown scored the first 4 points and really never looked back in the first half. Offense started to stall a little bit. I think got a little stagnant and got a little off rhythm. Once Jake Omer went out, got an extended breather as the Tigers kept that double-digit lead. But even once Omer got back in, Tigers were just a little out of sorts offensively after just a blistering start they got off to. Georgetown hit 7 of their first 10 shots from the floor. From there, just 10 out of 28 the rest of the half. But nevertheless, the defense still keeping them in front. And that's been the story all year for the Tigers. Also, ball security. To this point, Georgetown has not committed a turnover. The Tigers will send out their starting five for the second half. Omer, Wales, Dozier, Jones, and Lamont. And it looks like Indiana Tech will do the same with Grant Smith, Raj Stein, Corey McKinney, Blake Davison, and Josh Klein. Georgetown will open up its man-to-man defense, and I would not be surprised here as Indiana Tech brings the ball in to start the second half if the Warriors go inside to Klein to try and see if they can get that an early third foul on Drew Lamont. Klein fighting inside. Here is Stein at the elbow. Far corner. Pull-up jumper from Davison from 15 is not there, and that'll be a foul on Klein going over the back of Lamont for the tap-in. Klein tapped the ball in the basket, but he used Lamont's shoulders to get himself up in the air. It's Klein's second foul. Lamont was in perfect position on the block out as Davison took a tough contested 17-footer. And so the Tigers get a stop on the first possession of the half. Wales will march it into the front court, being checked by the 6'6" Grant Smith. Jones trying to get space inside against Raj Stein. Can't quite do it. Now the feed on the left side. Jones on the block, working against Stein, who has 2 fouls. Jones. Hook shot, lost on the way up, got it back, fired it off the glass. I think he thought he was going to get called for an up and down, and Stein clears the board. Good defense by Stein. Whips the pass in the middle, and just helter-skelter. Davison out to Smith. Fakes a 17-footer. Inside, a basket is up and not there, but Smith is fouled by Jake Omer, who tried to swipe across to try and knock the ball away from Smith, and that is the first foul on Jake Omer and then the first foul of the half. Grant Smith to the line. He one of 5 Warriors with 5 points on the day. Smith is 1 of 2 at the line. The first free throw is good. Give him point number 6, and it's 40-30. Now with one more coming here for the grad transfer from Indiana Wesleyan, ironically, as he hits the second. Smith out of Connorsville, Indiana. 40-31 in favor of Georgetown. 19-10 to go. The Warriors fans trying to get their team going. First time in a long time they've been within single digits of the Tigers. Wales on the left wing, now to the top of the key, works back left side to Omer, now to Lamont, facing up on Klein. He'll take an 18-footer. Line drive is pure. Lamont was backing away as he let it go. He knew it was perfect, and Drew Lamont is on the board. 42-31. McKinney walks it into the front court. Dozier giving him space with the right-hand dribble. Gives it off to Smith. Omer got away with a push in the back. We play on. Klein posting up against Lamont. Jones hinting at a double team. Klein works inside. Shot is off the glass. No good. Dozier pulls it away. Great job by Lamont again to hold his ground. Dozier in the mid front court. Lamont, left wing, deep three, way off the mark. Touchdown pass to the other side as Klein was cherry picking and lays it in. Waved at the block attempt and kept running down to the other end off of a poor shot selection from Drew Lamont. Klein now with 7. It's 42-33 in favor of the Tigers. Just under 2 minutes into the second half. Wales works right side. Payne is wide open if he wants it. He won't take it. He'll work to the top of the key. Jones wants to post up Stein, and here is Jones posting up in the mid-range, now facing up. Jones working with the right-hand dribble inside. Jones has to pick the dribble up. Shot clock down to 5. Lamont working the baseline. Shot clock down to 2. Lamont, one-step fadeaway is an air ball, and Indiana Tech gets a stop. Stagnant offense for Georgetown on that possession. No reversal, not much movement from Dozier and Omer on the left. Neither touched the ball, and Georgetown commits its first turnover of the night. McKinney into the front court, hands off to Davison on the right side, cut off by Lamont. Smith thought about a three, challenged by Omer. McKinney now has it straight away left side to Raj Stein, who has not scored thus far. He'll go one-on-one against Lamont into the lane. Stein falling. Floater is good for Raj Stein. His first points in Indiana Tech is within 7 at 42-35. Dozier walking into the front court. Omer trying to get free on a screen. McKinney chasing him the entire way. Dozier, left side, lays it in. He faked the handoff to Omer, and the left side was completely vacated. And such a crafty play from the freshman. Dozier has 9. McKinney trying to answer. His shot may have been deflected by Jones. It's no good. By Dozier, I should say. The shot was no good. Jones pulled down the rebound. Omer charging into the front court with the left hand. Layup is good. Now it's the Tigers going in transition. 4 in a row for Georgetown. Omer with 14. 16:40 to go in this semifinal. Stein hands off to Davison, right wing. Around a screen goes Davison with the left-hand dribble all the way through to the near side corner, and McKinney doesn't want the shot. Works his way into the paint. Jump pass, right side. Smith fakes a three. Going to work inside against the smaller Jaquay Wales. Tough shot, no good. Wales gets called for a foul. We saw Wales get exploited often yesterday against Grace with his lack of height. Here, Wales picks up his first foul. It's the team's second. Smith back to the line. First free throw for Smith is good. Neither one of these teams particularly strong at the line as a unit. Indiana Tech just 66% as a team. Georgetown 69%. But the Warriors, after the free throw from Smith is good, they are 8 of 9 at the stripe. Georgetown just 4 out of 9. 46-37, Tigers lead with 16:15 to go, and Wales walks the ball up the floor. Jones left wing. Wales takes the handoff back, trying to get Omer a look, and McKinney chases through this Jones screen. Jones top of the key, fakes the handoff to Wales, now works straight away against Stein. Spins to his right hand. Jones at the elbow. Shot clock under 10, and Jones has it poked away by Stein out of bounds, and Georgetown will have the ball on the other side of a timeout. 15:57 remaining. Indiana Tech inching closer. They're within 10. Georgetown will have 6 seconds to shoot on the other side of this timeout. Both teams breaking their huddles, coming out of a timeout. Georgetown will have the ball in its own end. 6 seconds to shoot. 15:57 remaining here in the ball game. Georgetown leading 46-37. It'll be Dozier to inbound as Georgetown works right to left here in this half. Jones with the deep catch on the right wing. Back to Dozier with 5 seconds left. Dozier around a screen, has to rush up a three. It's off the front iron, and Stein pulls it down. Stein will hustle into the front court, and Indiana Tech can draw closer. He'll kick it back to McKinney at the top, and McKinney will point for a screen on the left from Stein. He'll get it. McKinney shovels it back to Stein straight away. Davison right wing now against Wales. Davison with the first step right around Wales and lays it in. Nice move from Blake Davison, his second bucket, and the Warriors within 7. Dozier has it deep on the right wing, standing directly in front of Chris Briggs. Now works into the middle. Dozier, floater from 10. I think he got hit on the arm. No call. Davison pulls down the rebound, and the Warriors keep coming. Left side, Smith in transition. The lob pass inside is good by Klein. And Georgetown now wants a timeout as Indiana Tech has come out firing here in the second half. And now the Tigers have to regroup as the Warriors are 4 of 7 from the floor. And they've cut the halftime lead of 11 down to 5 with 15:06 to go here in Kansas City. Georgetown just 3 of 9 from the field to start this second half. Kind of carrying over from the end of the first half when Georgetown's offense really slowed over the final 6+ minutes. And that's carried over here into the second half. And the Tigers got to try to find a way, I think, to get Jake Omer a clean look at a shot. Omer has been quiet here in the half. He just has the one basket. He still has a game-high 14 points, but has not really been much of a factor. And, in fact, on a number of possessions has not even touched the basketball. He's been harassed by McKinney quite often, and that's a good reason why Omer has not seen the ball, as McKinney was his conference defensive player of the year. And I think that's a smart move by Indiana Tech head coach Ted Albert to put McKinney on Omer. I think especially given the night Omer had just 24 hours ago when he put 33 on Grace. Got a brief hold up here. I think perhaps might have the video stream still in a timeout. Now we're back to action. Indiana Tech come with some pressure in the backcourt. Omer catches in the deep corner. And the Warriors, at least for the moment now, will drop back. And Wales will bring it into the front court. 15 minutes remaining in this semifinal. Omer working against McKinney. Now Stein shows a screen, and Stein gets called for a foul, trying to poke the ball away, and that is 3 on Raj Stein. It's the second against the Warriors here in the half, but 3 fouls now on the WHAC Player of the Year. Lamont takes the inbound on the left wing. Omer around a screen. Doesn't take the three. Working the right side against McKinney. Wild shot off the glass. I think Omer was just hoping for a look. And now we've got a play behind the play as Stein got the rebound down and then swung his elbow up high, and he caught Dozier right in the chops. Now, the official on the far side signaled an offensive foul, and I think they may go to the monitor to look at this to see if it warrants a flagrant, and I think it will be. They're going to send the teams to their benches. It is going to be the 4th foul on Stein, and they are going to look at this to see if it should be upgraded to a flagrant 1, and I believe it will be. Stein had no idea that Dozier was coming up from behind on his right underneath the basket, and he swung that elbow back and caught Dozier right in the jaw. I don't know that it'll take long for the officials to once they see the replay to determine this should be upgraded to a flagrant 1. Now, there's no malice intent there by Stein, but when you bring the ball, bring that elbow up above your shoulders and swing it the way Stein did, in this day and age in college basketball, that is almost an automatic upgrade to a flagrant 1. In either case, it will be the 4th foul on Raj Stein in the game. And the officials on the far side looking at the monitor to see if they can get a good look at this. From my vantage point, this should be clear as day, upgraded to an F1 flagrant, which would give Georgetown 2 free throws and the ball. But we'll have to see what the official call is once it's determined by the officials on the floor. Still looking at it on the far side here. We've also not seen a replay here inside Municipal Auditorium, and I think that's by design. Yeah, 2 officials across the far side, one of them with the headset on, I think communicating with the broadcast production truck to see if they have more than one angle to try to determine if this is a flagrant 1. I said from where I could see it, and I'm behind, we're elevated behind the Georgetown bench. It looked clear as day to me. This should be upgraded to a flagrant 1 foul. One official has walked away, and now the 3rd official, who was not at the table, has now come over. And I think all the officials, all 3 of them, just trying to get on the same page here. But again, from my vantage point, it looked like to me, I should say, this should be upgraded to an F1, but we still have to wait for the official determination here, which should come here in a matter of moments. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to look at this. There was no doubt about it when Stein had the ball up, chin up, as he's taught, had the elbows flexed out. He swung back to his right, and Dozier was right there and took one right in the chops. Dozier's okay. He's standing near the Georgetown huddle, as the Tigers are just really waiting for this call to be had. Some players getting some hydration, but nothing else. And again, if this is upgraded to an F1, it would be 2 shots, 2 free throws, and the ball for Georgetown. And it looks like the officials have seen all they need to see. And now we'll wait here for the official determination. Now they'll get together at midcourt and again, I believe just make sure everybody is on the same page before they relay the message to the scorer's table. Georgetown leads 46-41, 14 minutes, 44 seconds to go. A critical juncture this could be, as Indiana Tech was going to have the ball coming down to try to get within 1 possession of Georgetown, a place they have not been since the score was 4-2. Still having a discussion again. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why this is taking so long. And now they're going to have a discussion. They're going to bring the head coaches together and discuss this. Chris Briggs and Ted Albert together with the officiating crew to explain what the call is here in this juncture. It is not going to be a flagrant foul. Are you kidding me? They're going to say a common foul on Raj Stein. I don't know how that's not a flagrant. Swung the elbow to his right and caught Dozier right in the. That is the definition of contact above the head, or above the shoulders, I should say. Georgetown will get the ball back on the offensive foul. It's still the 4th foul on Stein, but whoa, boy, I disagree with that one the entirety. Wales will inbound to Lamont as play resumes. Lamont in the corner now gives it back. Try to give it back, and it's stolen away. Bad pass for Lamont. Davison down the lane, and the layup is no good. The rebound tapped up, pulled down by Lamont, and boy, what a break for Georgetown there, as just a lazy pass from Drew Lamont was stolen away. Lamont in transition. He'll fire a 3. In and out. McKinney pulls down the board, and now we've got a foul. They're going to call a foul on Jake Omer when he had 2 hands on the ball to tie it up. they're calling a foul on Wales. Oh boy. So it'll be Wales second, the team's third. So I guess it was away from the basketball, and I didn't see that. In either case, some herky-jerky sequences here. Davidson has it at the elbow, right wing. Grant Smith wide open, three, no good. Kyron Jones slams down the rebound, I should say. Lamont charges up the left side in transition. Going to try and back down on Klein. Lamont inside, lost the ball, and it's deflected all the way to midcourt where Jaquay Wales has it. Kyron Jones on the left wing, working against Luciani. Jones dribbling down the baseline, spins, hook shot from 8. Yes! First points of the half for Kyron Jones. He has just 6 on the game. It's 48-41 Georgetown with 13:40 to go. McKinney driving with the left hand, stops at the elbow. The ball shuffled to Davison straight away. Davison inside, scoop shot around Lamont, no good. Klein there with the tip. Klein now with 6 in the half, 11 for the game. It's back to a 5-point lead for Georgetown. Jones working against Luciani, straight back to Lamont. Now Jones wants it back in the left corner. Lamont, quick release, 3, no good again. And right now, Georgetown does not need Drew Lamont taking threes with 20 seconds to go. In transition, Davison will take a 3. Talk about another bad shot. And now a foul called on the floor on the rebound as Lamont is going to get called for, I guess, aggressively blocking out Josh Klein. It'll be 3 on Drew Lamont and 4 on the team. Lamont had Klein in great position to box out and just kept working backwards to clear Klein out. I don't know how that's a foul on Lamont. I try to give the officials the benefit of the doubt as much as I can, but there have been some very questionable calls here in the last 90 seconds. As it stands, McKinney takes the inbound, going with the left side dribble, now into the corner. This is Helm with it. Helm back into the game, working against Dozier, and we have a foul going to be called on Dozier. It'll be 2 on Tay Dozier, and the foul's quickly piling up for Georgetown. That's their 5th of the half. Steve Helm will go to the line. He is 41 out of 47 on the season, 87%. Free throw is good. Point number 3 for Helm. And Indiana Tech can get within 3 if Helm converts this free throw with 12 minutes and 57 seconds to go. Helm, free throw, rolls off, and Kyron Jones clears it away, his 10th rebound. He'll bring it into the front court, working against Luciani. He's like that matchup, but nothing there at the moment. Hands off to Omer. Omer down the lane, fall away, an impossible shot and not a good one. Hit the back iron, scramble forward on the floor, and it's going to be over to Georgetown as Luciani had it and threw it between the legs of Helm. Lehrman will now return to the game for the Warriors in replace of Klein with 12:41 to go, and that'll give Klein an extended breather with the under 12 media timeout coming. 20 seconds on the shot clock here for Georgetown as Wales will inbound in the near side corner. Jones will take it. Jones working against the 6'10" Lehrman. Jones with the crossover between the leg. Crossover left. Step back. 15-footer is good. He was knocking those down to death yesterday, and Kyron Jones' hot hand from the mid-range continues. He has 8. The lead back to 6. Quick the other way. McKinney off the glass. No good. Kyron Jones has his 11th rebound. Wales up and running into the front court. Behind the back, now we'll stop the dribble on the right wing. Into the top of the key. Wales working against Perez, 15-footer. That is not the shot Georgetown wants. 12 seconds into a possession. That is a bad shot from Jaquay Wales. Perez rushes into the right corner, now into the middle. Skip pass, left side, Helm, 3 is good. And that's what happens. You take a bad shot. How many times do you see your team pay for it on the other end? Indiana Tech is within 3 with under 12 minutes to go as Helm slaps the floor for defensive intensity. Omer at the top. He has been very quiet through traffic, lost his footing, threw it up. Perez has the board, and the Warriors coming back. Perez down to the elbow. Helm in the corner, doesn't take the 3, and now puts on a hesitation, and Dozier couldn't stop his roll. It's 3 fouls on Tay Dozier, and the 6th against Georgetown. Timeout on the floor. Indiana Tech continues to get closer. They'll have a chance to get within one or the tie on the other side of this timeout. Shot selection in the second half for Georgetown has not been good, and Chris Briggs was just relaying that to his team in the huddle during this timeout. Not a lot of movement, a lot of shots being taken 10, 12 seconds into a possession without rotation, without reversals. A lot of one-on-one stuff going right now, and it's going against the Tigers as Indiana Tech continues to inch closer. Georgetown just 5 of 17 from the field here in the second half. It'll be Warrior basketball out of the timeout after Tay Dozier picked up his third foul. And Georgetown has not trailed in the game. The closest this game was 4-3 and then 6-5. Ever since then, it's been all Tigers, but Indiana Tech can change that here. Perez got a clean look at a three, and he just tied the game. Georgetown with no rotation off the screen, and Perez hit a three, and now a whistle after the play, and I think we've got a technical foul call against the Indiana Tech bench. I'm waiting to see if they signal if it was on a particular player or not, but right now I think the call is just a foul on the bench. Somebody said something that caught the official's ear, but we are tied for the first time tonight after the Max Perez three. Ted Albert, head coach of Indiana Tech, wanting the explanation. The technical foul is charged to Lucas Leisky, a player for Indiana Tech who has seen a total of 29 minutes on the season. Jake Omer to the free throw line, hits the first technical. 15th point for Omer. The foul is also the fourth against Indiana Tech. It puts Georgetown back ahead, and one more coming here for Omer. And it's off to the right. Georgetown, again, just porous free throw shooting, now 5 out of 11. It'll be the Tigers basketball to inbound the full court. As it's inbounded back where Perez hit the three, and full court pressure coming for the Warriors. And now Wales will take it, and the Indiana Tech will back off. 11:20 on the clock. The Tigers with a tenuous 1-point lead. Jones working on the left against Lehrman. Trying to work baseline against Lehrman. Jones inside. Double team comes. A lot of contact and nothing called. Now we're letting this kind of stuff go. Helm comes into the front court to the far side. Perez catches a high pass. Doesn't want the three. He's matched up against Kyron Jones. Perez working with the left hand. McKinney down the lane, and the shot is no good. McKinney got his own rebound, and another foul called against Georgetown on a loose ball. It's going to be called against Tay Dozier, and that is 4 now on Dozier, and it's also the team's 7th. Hey, Chris Briggs, you've got to get Tay Dozier out. Rashad Bishop's going to come to take his place. And they'll go ahead and let Bishop come in now for Dozier. McKinney will go to the line. He's not been there so far today. He's a 73% shooter on the season. It's a 1-and-1 for McKinney. It's good, and we're tied. (22-11). Indiana Tech has outscored Georgetown here in the second half, and now McKinney can give Indiana Tech its first lead of the game. And he does. Indiana Tech 52, Georgetown 51 with 10:50 to go. The Tigers led by as many as 15 in the first half, and it is all gone. Jake Omer, right wing, working left side against McKinney. Omer stops his dribble, fall away from 15. Another awful shot from Georgetown, and Indiana Tech has the board. Helm racing into the front court. Right side, Perez doesn't want the quick three. Helm works it left side to McKinney. Spike's going to come in at the next whistle for Georgetown. McKinney will back it down. They'll take it all the way out near the timeline. 10 seconds to shoot, 10 minutes, 15 seconds in the game. McKinney working against Omer. 18-footer is no good, and he came down on the foot of Omer, and Jake Omer is going to get called for his second foul, and McKinney turned his left ankle. I mean, if you're Omer, you have to give him space to land, and Omer didn't do it. This is just not smart basketball on either side for Georgetown right now. The Tigers have got to find a way to get things turned around here. And now we've got a stoppage here. And McKinney's still limping here. And if he's determined to have to leave, looks like he's going to shoot the free throws, but if he were to leave, Georgetown would get to pick the free throw shooter per the rule. But it looks like McKinney will at least shoot the free throws, as Omer was called for his second foul. And the free throw is good for McKinney. Spike's now in, and he'll take the place of Omer. And I think this is a way to get sit down Jake Omer and try to get him calmed down. He is taking some very, very questionable shots here as of late. One more for McKinney to try to put his team up 3. And it is good. McKinney will limp to the bench. Davison will take his place. 54-51, Indiana Tech leads with 10:11 to go. The Tigers just need to find a way to put the ball in the basket right now. This has been a dismal second half from the floor. 5 out of 19 shooting for Georgetown. Good. Jones at the top, hands off to Spikes. Spikes cut off by Luciani. Now right side to Tommy Thomas. Thomas at the elbow, 15-footer, no, and pulled down by Helm. And the lid remains on Georgetown's basket. They're 5 out of 20 in the half. Perez, transition three, is almost an air ball. It's knocked out of bounds off the leg of Davison over to Georgetown. Wales will walk it into the front court. Who can get a basket for Georgetown? Kyron Jones has it at the top, working against Luciani. Hands off to Thomas on the right wing, now to Wales straight away. Jones wants it, spins baseline, double team comes. Jones, nowhere to go with it, has to kick it out to Tommy Thomas. 8 seconds to shoot again, and now an offensive foul on Tommy Thomas. And right now, Georgetown just can do nothing right on offense. This is abysmal to watch, but you have to give Indiana Tech credit. They are challenging everything right now for Georgetown. As Thomas picks up his first foul, it's the team's 9th. And now Indiana Tech can push it to a 2-possession lead. Helm has it on the left wing, now to the top of the key, and Lehrman back to Helm. Shuffles it off to Davison, right side, now working with his left hand, goes behind the back. Floater off the glass, no good. Tapped up, not there. And Jones has it, but threw it away. Right to Perez. Luciani, no good. And Indiana Tech wants a foul. They won't get it. Wales in transition. Tommy Thomas, left side. Thomas to the baseline. Inside to Spikes, who is hammered and will shoot 2. One of the few times we've seen Georgetown get out in transition. It'll pay off as Jeremy Luciani fouls Jabrion Spikes, putting Spikes at the line. It's Luciani's second foul and just the 5th against the Warriors. Spikes will shoot 2. He was 3 for 4 from the line in the win over Grace last night. 74% on the season for the freshman. The free throw is good. First point on the night for Spikes. He'll try to bring Georgetown back within 1 with 8:46 on the clock. Spikes toes the line with the right foot. Left foot back, and the free throw was off. Kyron Jones has the rebound, saves it into Jabrion Spikes. Big rebound there for Jones. Now can Georgetown capitalize? 15 to shoot. Georgetown can tie or take the lead with a three. Wales at the top, 10 seconds. Not a lot of movement here. Wales will take a long jumper, and it hits the glass. Another awful shot. Helm behind the defense is fouled. Basket counts. Laid it up off the glass and in, and just more questionable offense from Georgetown. No urgency, and Wales took a 20-footer that hit the opposite side of the glass, and Helm takes advantage on the other end. Helm was flat-out cherry-picking. Wales tried to come back and challenge, made just enough contact, and the basket drops for the junior out of Valparaiso, Indiana. It's the third foul on Omer, now the 10th against Georgetown, as the free throw from Helm is good, and it's a 5-point Warrior lead. Georgetown is 5 out of 21 from the field here in the second half. 8:15 to go. Jake Omer remains on the bench. Timeout coming at the under 8 dead ball. Thomas on the left wing. Thomas spins into the lane. Spin, no good. And a foul on the rebound attempt by Bishop. It's going to go against the Warriors. It'll be called against Steve Helm, his first team sixth. Rashad Bishop will go to the line, and Tay Dozier is coming to the scorer's table with 8:05 to go and 4 fouls. Bishop missed 2 free throws badly in the first half. The free throw here is no good. Dozier will come in for Wales, and Georgetown now 6 out of 14 at the foul line. Bishop will try and salvage the second, as he is frustrated by his effort at the line thus far. This one is good. First point of the half for Bishop, 5 in total. Tigers back within 4 with exactly 8 minutes remaining in this semifinal. Davison works patient at the top with McKinney on the bench. Helm has it. Gets a screen from Klein, working on the left wing. Helm crossover on Spikes. Spikes stays with him. Spikes good D. Davidson charging down the lane and lays it in. Just a complete breakdown again as Spikes held his ground, but no rotation on the curl. And Davidson hit a free walk to the rim with the left-hand layup. 6-point Warrior lead. Dozier hands off to Jones. Now down to Bishop. The floater rolls off the iron. Jones gets the offensive rebound. I think Georgetown cannot wait to get to the next whistle. You've got to get Jake Omer back into the game and try and get yourself an outside threat, even though the Tigers are 2 out of 14 from 3. Dozier, left wing. Long 2 is an air ball, but a foul is called on Davison. A late whistle as that jumper from Dozier wound up 4 feet short of the basket. And Blake Davison doesn't like the call, but pretty darn clear contact there. It'll be his second foul. Tay Dozier will shoot free throws on the other side of this timeout, with the Tigers searching for anything offensively. Dozier will try and help from the foul line on the other side of this timeout with 7:11 to go. The Tigers trying to get themselves energized as they come back onto the floor. It's been the Warriors' defense that has been the story in this second half, as Georgetown has missed 18 of 23 shots from the field. The Tigers are also just 3 of 6 at the line, and that's how you lose an 11-point lead at halftime. Tay Dozier will step to the line to shoot 2 as he was fouled on the jumper by Davison. The first free throw is perfect for Tay Dozier, his 10th point. Free throw good for Dozier. I said Dozier had 4. I had Dozier with 4. The official scoring only has Dozier with 3 fouls. So Dozier with 3. Beg your pardon on that there, as that was, Leah had to have been corrected. I thought Dozier had 4. In either case, Raj Stein back into the game for Indiana Tech with 4 fouls. Klein posts up on the high block, hand off to Smith down the lane off a rub. It is blocked by Jones. On Smith's a chance for an up and down lay-in. Jones will bring it into the front court. Right side, Lamont doesn't want a 3, had space to do it, and then stepped on the end line. Completely careless turnover. Just the 4th of the day, but you can't have that if you're trying to come back here, as tough as the offense has been. Lamont had some 5 feet of space to shoot a 3, and tried to fake a drive baseline, and then stepped on the sideline. And that kind of sums up how it's been in the second half offensively for Georgetown. Davison crossing over on Thomas, but Thomas stays with him. Stein's at the screen. Davison reversal. Back to Stein. Doesn't want the 3. Now Klein on the right block working against Lamont. Through the lane. Left-hander, no. And Kyron Jones pulls down his 16th rebound. Dozier into the left corner. Working against Smith. Dozier trying to post up. Working through contact off the window, and good defense by Grant Smith, as Dozier was just trying to incite a call, and that's not going to happen. That was great defense by Smith. Smith to McKinney at the top. Hands off to Davison. 6:05 to go in a 4-point Warrior lead. Jake Omer coming back onto the floor. Davison missed a layup, and the rebound is tapped to Dozier. Blew right by Thomas, but blew the lay-in. Lamont now to Thomas at the top. Thomas works against McKinney. Working to the left side with that left hand. Now goes to his right. Thomas, the southpaw, working inside, trying to spin to his left. Jumper is good. Tommy Thomas, his first points of the half, and now Georgetown back within 2 with 5:35 to go. Jaquay Wales heading to the scorer's table. He'll join Omer at the next whistle. Davison around the screen. Jones hedges. Davison picks up the dribble to Smith, left wing. Now Stein spins baseline on Jones. Stein with 10 seconds. Up and through Jones and lays it in. Nice up and under move from Raj Stein. Just his second bucket, but gives the Warriors some breathing room. Dozier walks into the front court. Georgetown remains patient with its offense. 5 minutes remaining in this semifinal. Lamont on the left wing, still not a lot of movement here from Georgetown. Dozier comes to get it at the top, and Chris Briggs asking where the movement is. Jones chases a pass to the right wing, under 10 seconds. Kyron Jones with a double team. 18-footer is way too strong. Inside, a rebound going to be foul going to be called against Indiana Tech as Spikes went for it on the weak side. The foul is called on Davison. It'll be his 3rd and the team's 8th. It'll put Spikes at the line for a 1-and-1. And just as importantly for Georgetown, it'll get Omer into the game for Lamont. McKinney hops off to the bench, replaced by Helm. Spikes at the line, 1-and-1 opportunity here. He's 1 for 2 from the line tonight. 4 minutes, 44 seconds to go in this semifinal. And the free throw is perfect for Spikes. One more here to try to bring his team back within 2. Right foot toes on the line, left foot a step back. One dribble. And Spikes' free throw no good, and Stein pulls down the rebound. Georgetown again leaving points at the line. Now 10 of 19 from the foul line. Davison has it deep in the right wing, almost near the midcourt line. 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. Tigers need another stop. Davison slowly walking Dozier down the lane. Pull up from 10 is no good, and a foul is called on Dozier, and I have no idea where that was at all. It'll be Dozier's 4th. I thought Dozier went straight up in the air and challenged Davison at the summit. Davison will go to the line. 77% free throw shooter Davison is on the year. He's not been there tonight. And the free throw rolls in. Point number 7 for the sophomore, as Wales takes the place of Dozier, who now has 4 fouls and will have to sit. One more for Davison. Is good. He has 8, the lead back to 5. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. It's been a long time on the bench for Jake Omer. He'll bring the ball into the front court now. And if Georgetown could ever use their sharpshooter to get hot, it is right now. Omer being face guarded by Helm, and Helm now gets called for a grab. He doesn't like it, but it was pretty obvious. He had 2 arms around the waist of Omer. It'll be the team's 9th, and it'll bring Omer to the line for a 1-and-1. Omer has 15 points, but just 3 here in the second half. Free throw is good. Omer now 5 of 8 from the line tonight. We'll try and add one more to that tally and get Georgetown back within 3 with 4:10 to go. Three dribbles, and the senior releases and hits it. 17 for Omer, 63-60 in favor of Indiana Tech, and now the Tiger bench trying to will the team onto a defensive stop. Davison cut off by Spikes at the elbow, kicks it back to Stein, and now back to Davison on the left side. Davison right around Wales, and Klein missed the lay-in, but gets his own board back and puts it in. Wales got caught flat-footed, and Davison blew right by him. It's back to a 5-point lead. Thomas at the top working against Klein on a mismatch. Thomas right down the lane with the right hand is good. Tommy Thomas using a speed advantage. He has 10. Back to a 3-point game. 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Smith will have it on the left wing, working against Omer, trying to drive to the right wing. Cut off at the hash mark. Now straight away to Davison. Stein wants it inside on the mismatch against Spikes. Stein faces up on Spikes. In the lane, Spikes tried to draw a charge. It won't happen. Smith down the lane. Basket's good, and the foul, as they say. Kyron Jones was inside the restricted area. Jones was set up to take the charge in plenty of time, but was inside the restricted arc. It's Jones' second timeout on the floor, and it's Indiana Tech who continues to have answers for Georgetown. 3:13 to go in the ball game. Indiana Tech trying to stretch its lead to 6. Tay Dozier will re-enter the game with 4 fouls. 3 minutes, 13 seconds on the clock, and the Tigers trailing by 5. Grant Smith will be at the line to try to make the lead 6 for Indiana Tech, as he scored before the break and drew a foul on Kyron Jones, who was inside the restricted area while he was attempting to draw a charge. Smith has 11 points tonight, 5 of 6 from the foul line. And the free throw is good. He now has 12. And give Indiana Tech credit, they're knocking him dead at the line. 17 out of 19. Georgetown, conversely, is 12 out of 21. Dozier has it on the left wing, working against Davison. Gets a screen from Jones. Dozier, the jump pass inside to nobody. And the Tigers commit just their 5th turnover of the game. He was trying to get Jones on the slip, but threw it 3 feet high and 2 feet behind Kyron Jones. And now the Warriors can expand their lead with a basket. Under 3 minutes to go, and the Tigers need a stop in the worst way. Davidson has had a quickness advantage on any Tiger guard he's faced all night. He'll match up with Omer. And Indiana Tech clearing out the floor. Smith fakes a 3 on the left wing. Smith down the lane. A foul is called. And the shot is no good. They'll say it's on the floor anyway. The foul is on Dozier, and that's it for Tay Dozier. I thought they might have gotten Spikes with a reach in. Instead, Tay Dozier will leave with 11 points and 6 rebounds. Drew Lamont will take his place, and the Tigers have lost a ball handler with size in Tay Dozier. Grant Smith at the line will shoot 2. Free throw is well short that time. Still plenty of time here with 2:42 on the clock. The second free throw for Smith is good. Wales got to the table late. They won't let him sub in. It's Indiana Tech's largest lead at 69-62. And this has been the end that's been the problem for Georgetown. Omer, quick release 3, good. Oh my goodness, did Georgetown need that off of a curl? Omer got the 3. It's just the 3rd 3 of the day for Georgetown. Omer now has 20. 2:25 to go. Smith wants to go one-on-one with Omer as the Warriors clear things out. 15 to shoot. As the Warriors also content to burn the clock. Klein coming for a screen. Smith at the elbow, right elbow, picks up his dribble. Hands off to Davison. Davison with 5. Spin in the lane. Davison lost it, turned over. Drew Lamont has it. Omer coming in transition. 2 minutes to go in this semifinal. Spikes on the right wing. Spikes, hesitation move inside. Pass over to Kyron Jones. Yes, lays it in. Jones with 10. The deficit down to 2 with 1:50 to go. 1:45 on the clock. Smith walks it into the front court. 69-67, Indiana Tech in the lead. On the left wing, now hands off to Helm straight away. Smith takes it back, working against Omer, who has just 2 fouls. Smith posting up on Jones, 10 seconds. Smith back inside. Stein, fall away from 10, good. Big basket for Stein. He has 6. The lead back to 4 with 1:15 on the clock. Spikes with it in hand. Omer right wing, got a release on a 3. It's short all the way, and the rebound pulled down by Smith. And now the Tigers have to get a stop. And now Lamont will foul Klein at midcourt. Not a bad option to foul there as Lamont picks up his 4th foul. Klein just a 62% shooter on the season. Tonight, he is 1 for 1. 1:01 on the clock. It's a 4-point Warrior lead. Klein with the biggest free throws of his season and hits the first. The Warriors are knocking these free throws dead. 19 out of 22 at the foul line they are. You can go right to the free throw shooting is the difference in this one if Georgetown comes up short. The second free throw for Klein hits the back iron and drops straight through the bucket. 73-67, 1 minute to go. Wales now to Omer working inside. Omer trying to get contact inside. Jumper is no good. Klein has the rebound and the Tigers have to foul. Stein into the front court. Up ahead. Helm behind the defense and he'll lay it in. And Georgetown's season's about to end here in the semifinals. 75-67 with 46 seconds to go. The inbound pass was knocked out of bounds, staying with Georgetown with 45 seconds left. 46-27 advantage for Indiana Tech here in the second half. You can look at the free throw shooting, but you can also look at the fact that Georgetown's offense completely evaporated here in the second half. For all that Georgetown did right in the first half offensively, they've done nothing but wrong here in the second. Jones hustles into the front court. Kyron Jones down the lane. He is fouled by Klein and will shoot two with 40.8 on the clock. Klein's third, team's 10th. Kyron Jones, it's been a quiet offensive night for him. He does have 10 points and 16 rebounds. Free throw rattles home for the Bowling Green native. One more coming. .8 on the clock. Jones trying to bring Georgetown back within 6. And it's good. And Georgetown will take a timeout. 75-69 in favor of Indiana Tech as Georgetown spends a timeout. The Tigers will have one more remaining. It's a 30-second timeout here, and if you're Georgetown, if you can't get a steal right off the inbound, you just got to foul and hope that Indiana Tech starts missing free throws. But by the way they've shot the ball at the stripe tonight, little reason to think that that's going to happen. Holding the lead has been an issue for Georgetown late in the season. You go back to the Mid-South Conference Championship game when the Tigers had a 20-point lead late in the first half and let that one go. Had a 19-point lead in the opening round against Lourdes, and Lourdes brought it all the way under 5 late in that game before the Tigers held on to advance to the next round. But you also have to give a ton of credit to the defense of Indiana Tech. Their second-half defense has been phenomenal. Smith will inbound. Georgetown will not defend the inbound man. They'll get it into Davison in the far corner. Georgetown has the trap there, and Davison will call a timeout with 38.2 on the clock, leaving the Warriors with one timeout remaining. Looking up and down the board for the Warriors, Josh Klein, if he stays on the floor, he's 3 for 3 from the line. Grant Smith, 7 of 9. Blake Davison, who had the ball right there, he's 2 for 2. Max Perez, 2 for 2. Corey McKinney, 4 for 4. Steve Helm, 2 for 3. Any which way you shake it, it has not mattered who's been on the floor for Indiana Tech. For a team that shoots 66% from the line on the season, 20 out of 23 in this game. And it might be the difference that salt this one away and send the Warriors on to the championship and end Georgetown's season in the semifinals. Possession arrow favors Georgetown if the Tigers get a tie-up. The Tigers are going to start. They're going to have to need to get some help from Indiana Tech at the foul line. Indiana Tech also, by the way, has turned it over just 3 times here in the second half. That will also help erase an 11-point halftime deficit. Now the officials going to the monitor on the far side, and I think what they're checking on is potentially the clock when Davison called the timeout. The clock's showing 38.2, and I'm not sure if they're going to look to see if more time should be added on. Of course, Georgetown will take every 10th of a second it can muster. And it looks like we're going to hold pat. 38.2 on the clock. Indiana Tech will have to inbound on the far sideline. It'll be Smith, Stein, Davison, Klein, and Helm back on the floor for the Warriors. Georgetown will counter with Wales, Spikes, Thomas, Jones, and Bishop. Smith to inbound. And gets it into Stein, and Kyron Jones will quickly foul. Jones is third. Stein will go to the line. He has not been there tonight. 66% on the season, 37.6 on the clock. If Georgetown were to ever need 2 free throw misses, it's right now. The first free throw for Stein rolls off. Jake Omer and Drew Lamont back in for Georgetown, replacing Spikes and Bishop. Tigers will try to get a couple more shooters on. with 37.6 on the clock. This is a big one, though, for Stein to push back to a 3-possession game. A spin of the ball and the release, and the free throw is good. 7 points for Stein. The lead is 7 with 37 seconds to go. Thomas hustling into the front court, trying to barrel his way in. Shot at the glass is no good. Jones has the rebound. No, he gets called going over the back. Kyron Jones called for his 4th. Beg your pardon, that's 5 on Jones. I only had it as 4 on Jones. Instead, Kyron Jones will leave with 12 points and 16 rebounds. He's the second Tiger to foul out in the game, and Stein back to the line with 30.6 on the clock. Chris Briggs not happy with the call, and I can't blame him. He'll use his full allotted time to bring a sub into the game. It's going to be Rashad Bishop no matter what, but Chris Briggs consulting with assistant Rodney Haddix as the Tigers see their season slipping away. Georgetown had a 15-point lead in the first half before the Warriors started chipping away and the Tigers' offense just completely evaporated. Stein hits the free throw. 77-69 in favor of Indiana Tech. One more for the grad transfer. It is short, but Grant Smith comes in and gets the rebound as Rashad Bishop was ball watching. Helm has it at the three-point line, and Georgetown will commit a foul there with 22.5 on the clock, and the Warrior fans can sense it as Omer picks up his 3rd. Smith just walked right around Rashad Bishop and grabbed the offensive rebound. Bishop never even left his feet. And now it's Steve Helm at the line. Free throw, no good. 22.5 on the clock. Spikes back in for Bishop. And I think Bishop's being pulled because he never went to grab an offensive rebound. Helm with the second free throw is good. Helm with 12, 78-69. And the Warriors now with some backcourt pressure to try and burn some clock. Omer trying to get it into the front court, up ahead to Spikes. And the Warriors will let Spikes lay it in. And Georgetown will take their final timeout. 16.1 on the clock. And the Warriors leading 78-71. There's a number of things you could point to as to why Georgetown's about to be eliminated here in this semifinal, I should say. Not the least of which, the second half offense. The Tigers shooting just 30% here in the second half. 3 of 16 from three for the game, and they've missed 9 free throws. Only turned it over 5 times, the Tigers have. But you look at the way things shake out, you can certainly credit the Indiana Tech defense here in the second half. But Georgetown has really been its own worst enemy here in the second half. Seven-point deficit for the Tigers with just 16 and 1/10 second remaining in their season. Omer, Wales, Spikes, Thomas, and Lamont now in, with Dozier and Jones having fouled out. And the Warriors will counter with Stein, Helm, Smith, Davison, and Klein. Stein to inbound. And they'll get it into Smith, and Georgetown will foul with 14.6 on the clock. The foul is on Spikes, just his first. Smith, 7 of 9 from the line tonight. Indiana Tech as a team before these 2 free throws, 23 out of 29. First free throw for Smith is good. .14 for Smith, 14.6 remaining in Georgetown's season. The free throw is the second one is good. He has 15, 80-71. Spikes hustles up to Wales in the front court. Back to Spikes. Jumps three, back to Spikes. He'll kick it back out and throws it away to Helm. And Georgetown, I don't think, will foul, and they will not. The horn sounds. Georgetown is eliminated in the Fab Four as Indiana Tech comes back from an 11-point halftime deficit, outscores Georgetown 51-31 in the second half. And Indiana Tech is on to the national championship game with an 80-71 win. The Tigers' season ends with an overall record of 30-6. Indiana Tech improves to 32-4 on the season, and they will get the top seed College of Idaho in the national championship game tomorrow night here in Kansas City. We're going to step aside. When I come back, we'll have some of the final numbers, and I'll hope to have a final word with Chris Briggs as Georgetown's season comes to an end in the Fab Four. Georgetown accepting a semifinal trophy, and you can understand what their emotions right now. Really don't want anything to do with that trophy as they slowly make their way off the floor. A disappointing way, and how ironic that this game turns out this way as Georgetown rallied from first half double-digit deficits in the wins over Grace and Langston, and now that's turned on the Tigers' head as the Tigers let go a 15-point first-half lead and fall 80-71. Still a terrific season for the Tigers. It obviously hurts right now, and it'll hurt for a while. But as time goes on, the Tigers will look back on the season, and it's nothing to shake a stick at to get all the way back to the Fab Four for the 16th time in program history. But Georgetown is denied the opportunity for a fourth national championship as Indiana Tech celebrates, and rightly so. Their defense in the second half was tremendous. The Tigers shoot just 30% in the second half. Indiana Tech just under 50%, and so the Tigers still held their ground in that regard, but free throw shooting, Indiana Tech knocked down their free throws consistently, finishing the game 25 out of 31 at the line. If you want to point to one stat, like I said, it doesn't really matter at this point. The Tigers fall by 9 and miss 9 free throws. But again, doesn't really tell the whole story of this game as those were accumulated as things went on. It brings to end the careers at Georgetown of Jake Omer and Drew Lamont. Omer finishes with 20 points, a game high on 6 of 15 shooting from the field. Lamont, a tough way to go out, just 1 of 8 from the field, 0 for 5 from three-point range, and just 2 points and 4 rebounds. Kyron Jones finished 12 points, 16 rebounds. Tay Dozier, 11.6 rebounds. Both Jones and Dozier fouled out in this game. Tommy Thomas with 10 points. Jaquay Wales, 7. Rashad Bishop, 5 points. Jabrion Spikes with 4. On the other side for Indiana Tech, Grant Smith and Josh Klein each with 15 points tonight. Steve Helm with 12, Corey McKinney 9, Raj Stein, Max Perez, and Blake Davison all with 8, and 5 points from Jeremy Luciani. And we'll see if Chris Briggs chooses to come out and speak with us. I didn't get a chance to get an indication from him or his staff as to if he will or not. But stay tuned here, and we'll hang in here for a little bit longer here and see if Chris Briggs will come out and have a final word with us as his team is eliminated in the Fab Four by a final score of 80-71 against Indiana Tech. We're back here in just a few moments. Still waiting to see if Chris Briggs will come out and join us as Georgetown's season ends in the Fab Four with an 80-71 loss to Indiana Tech after the Tigers are outscored by 20 in the second half, 51-31. Overall, Georgetown shoots just 38% from the floor, 27 of 71, 3 of 16 from three-point range, and 14 out of 23 from the foul line. Indiana Tech shoots 43% in the game, 25 out of 58, 5 out of 13 from three, 25 out of 31 at the foul line. Give the Warriors credit. They are not a good free throw shooting team coming into today. Today they were. 81% at the line. That's 15 points above their season average. They made them when it counted. Also, the Warriors only turned the ball over 3 times in that second half after 8 in the first half. Indiana Tech out-rebounds Georgetown 43-37. The Tigers did have 11 offensive rebounds in this game, but just could not get anything going, particularly in the second half, as just the lid just went on the basket for Georgetown. 11 offensive rebounds for the Tigers, just 5 second-chance points on the day. Kind of tells you where things were as far as the second half went for Georgetown. And a lot of those opportunities did come in the second half for the Tigers, as Georgetown shot just 10 out of 33 in the half and 1 of 6 from three-point range. And so Georgetown's season comes to an end here in the Fab Four, and not seeing Chris Briggs at this point, and I think he's going to choose to stay in with this team. And perhaps one final extended message before we all get on the buses and head home tomorrow to Georgetown. Still a fantastic season for the Georgetown Tigers as they finish the year with another 30-win campaign under Chris Briggs. 30 wins, just 6 losses. You go from a 3 seed in the Dewar Quadrant all the way to the Fab Four. That is nothing to shake a stick at, having to go through the number 1 and the number 2 seed in your quadrant to get to the Fab Four. But ultimately, Indiana Tech's defense just too good once again, as Indiana Tech is on to the national championship. They'll take on the College of Idaho tomorrow night. That game to be broadcast on ESPN3. And so with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up our coverage here in Kansas City as Georgetown staying in the locker room. For our entire terrific crew, we certainly hope you've enjoyed the stay out here in Kansas City. We certainly wish it was going one night longer, but that it was not to be on this night. For our excellent photographer, Richard Davis, Liz Martin, who was brilliant on social media, Bethany Blair handling everything behind the scenes technically to get us on the air, and also doing great work on social media. I'm Jason Griefer. Thank you so much for joining us. The Tigers season comes to an end in the Fab Four as they fall to Indiana Tech by a final score of 80-71, and for Tiger basketball,